Hey guys, Ascension here and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys my Rambo Pyro mounted firepower build. You just Gatling gun everything down like you've got a big LMG. You just walk around like you own the place and you mow down hordes of enemies. If you ever want to feel like Rambo, like a badass, then this is the guide for you. Before we get into it, I would like to talk about today's sponsor, Deving.net. If you feel like you're struggling with expeditions or maybe just missing a few items for your build, or even if you just don't have enough time to level that last character, the Ving has you covered. They offer many boosts for games like Destiny 2, Division 2, and with the Ving, you can choose whatever you need, whether it be expeditions, custom streamer builds, you choose what you need. And if you use my code AugieSaint, you will get a discount of 15% on any of your purchases in the store. And the boost works with account sharing and self-play, so they do everything without the use of cheats or bugs, so you can trust they will get the job done. And if you need help with any of this, just type down here hello to the operator that will be working 24/7 and they will get to it right away and help you out with that. So thank you for sponsoring this video and let's get straight to it now, shall we? So I was working on a firepower build going down the trees, and usually I go completely in the top, and I just completely avoided the going down the bottom or any other part. I would just go straight across the top. And then I saw this video from Jumpin Productions over on YouTube. I will have a link to his video as well, and it's pretty much this build here, just a little bit different compared to mods and stuff. So I'm going to say the idea comes from him, and then I just changed it up a little bit and made it how I like it. So with that out of the way, let's hop straight into the build. So let me show you guys the armor pieces. We are using 3-piece with the Maxwell set, and then the bottom 2 pieces you can use purples. I just haven't actually found some purple boots yet that I have that are really good, so then a good change is the cannonball set. We'll start at the top. So running with the helmet of the Maxwell, and then we mod on to a death sentence, and it comes with dum-dum bullets and then danger close. Now this danger close, I would actually change it out if I could. I would actually put dead clock on there, I think it's called. It's when you have 2 skills on cooldowns, it increases your weapon damage by 8%. It is a T3 mod, and you can get it to roll on that slot in your helm. So dead clock is what I would go for on the helm. And then obviously bonus firepower, cooldown reduction, and close range damage is all good. And the good thing about this build is your stats, really, they can be whatever, because it is a hybrid build. You do have anomaly and firepower. And status power also gives you damage. Close range give you damage. Long range give you damage. Everything pretty much gives you damage in this build. So whatever you get. But ideally you would want to go for anomaly and status. That does end up giving you the most damage. But really everything gives you damage. So on your 2 purple pieces you want to get anomaly status where you can. And then you do have cooldown on these 3 pieces, so you don't need any more cooldown as you're already over the cooldown cap with these 3 pieces. Alright, moving on to the chest piece. We have Captain Hunter on there, and then personal space, not the best, but we can't really change it out because the other mod was worse. And then self-medication, now that you can actually roll Captain Hunter into that slot on your APOC slot if you're lucky, and that would be preferred. That I can actually change out self-medication for something else, because I do believe they are going to fix self-medication and make it not as strong as what it is right now. Because basically with self-med, all you do is you press any one of your skills and you just full heal. No matter what health you are, you press any skill and you will full heal yourself pretty much instantly. So it's really, really nice when you have cooldowns being as short as they are with all of the cooldown we have. But I would definitely suggest putting in at least one defensive mod of this build, because it is pretty glass cannon. You do a lot of damage. And eventually you'll ramp up to so much damage that nothing will even come anywhere near you. So most of the time you're pretty safe. It's just like if something goes wrong, or if you drop your stacks or something like that, then you do want to try and have yourself a defensive mod. Self-made being really good. Emergency stance, protective golem, anything like that. All of those are really good. I think emergency stance, the one that gives you the shield and it's on like a 5-second cooldown. That's a really good defensive mod, because it's only got a 5-second downtime. So you just got to stay alive for 5 seconds before it procs again. Gives you a large amount of shields. And then moving on, we have the boots of the Maxwell, and we put Kingslayer on them. They come with Bloodlust and then Flame Grasper. This mod right now is completely dead for me. I wish I could get something else in there, like Ashen Boost or anything else that will boost your damage against burning targets or ash targets, or just anything else. Not that, because that's pretty much a dead mod to us right now, unfortunately. You could even get volcanic rounds with like lava shots or something else. Any volcanic rounds mod that will go in there. All of that is perfectly good. And then moving on, we do have our gloves with ash increased range, mandatory mod, bullet kindling, another mandatory mod, and then lava shots. It does give you 25% firepower while the skill is active. If you can fit it in, I would say definitely get that over some other mods. Something else you could put on there is the mod that increases your anomaly power when you hit things with overheat or when you consume status with overheat. That's a really another good one. Is something you could put on there. But yeah, lava shots just gives you that firepower a lot faster because it gives you 25% straight away. So you don't have to apply anything or do anything. You just have it right from the get-go. Moving on to our boots, we have arms and anomaly, just plain flat anomaly damage. And with this build, 55% of our anomaly damage actually gets converted into firepower damage. So that's really good to have anomaly on this, as you guys can see from the build. And then Phantom Dash, how this build works is you kind of need to be shooting all the time. That's what makes it so good. Is with the Maxwell, when you shoot, you get a stack that builds up your assault weapon firepower damage. And then with the skill, the Pax Tree, it gives you even more damage the longer you shoot. And it pretty much is uncapped and you can stack it up as high as you want. So that's why you want to keep shooting. And then obviously you can't roll, because if you roll, you'll stop shooting. But if you Phantom Dash, you can actually move around the map pretty quickly and you do not lose your buff. Because when you are shooting, you can have like a 1 to 2 second downtime of not shooting before you actually drop the buff. And the Phantom Dash, as long as you're shooting, you Phantom Dash and you shoot again for like another second afterwards, you'll maintain the buff and you can Phantom Dash again. Just have to make sure that you start shooting once you come out of the Phantom Dash. So it's really nice just to go through it, but you don't need this mod. It's just a nice little mod to have. And then Sharp Eye, just plain out firepower damage. So really good. The only mods I would suggest trying to pick up that I do not have on this is obviously the Ash damage, increased Ash damage. So I think it's called Ashen Champion or something like that. Or Ashen Boost is what it's called. And then your self-med, have that for like whatever else defensive cooldown you want. Or if you don't even want a defensive cooldown, just go some more flat out damage on there, whatever you want in that slot. Like some more to your volcanic rounds or something like that. And those are pretty much the mods that you do need there. Most of the ones I have on there is mandatory. And also another one is that consumer one that I told you guys about with overheat, where it gives you anomaly power from stuff that you overheat, being their status, consuming their statuses. Then moving up to our guns, this build works with assault weapons, so you can technically use any assault weapon you want, but we're going to be using double guns and LMGs. Now we do want to have two different versions. We want to have the LMG for mobbing, because it's just got a massive magazine with our skill points and everything. We have over 300 rounds in the magazine. And then perpetual mobile is how we actually reload that's our reload mechanic, because we drop down to about 100 rounds in the magazine, and that is then our 35% point to hit. So as long as you kill something when you're at 100 rounds or less, you'll refresh the whole 325 bullets in your magazine. So you'll never run out of ammo running this LMG with perpetual mobile. And then anomaly enhancement, you do need both of these mods on your mobbing weapon. It is mandatory. And then the third point really could go into anything. I preferably want to get either Dark Sacrifice or Fortress. I think Fortress would be really nice because it gives you the resistance as well. So it's a little bit defensive and it gives you just flat damage. So ideally, I would say Fortress would probably be the best third slot on the mobbing weapon, because it just gives you that damage and defense. So it's just nice all around. But obviously, I haven't managed to get that. I do have the crit damage increase, gives you health. So that's a little bit nice, gives you a little bit HP when you crit damage. But overall, as long as it rolls with anomaly enhancement and perpetual mobile. And then obviously crit damage and status power for the secondary stats do boost all of your damage as well with this build. And then moving on to our boss killer, we're using the final penance, because this does roll with Mage's Rage, which is mandatory for your boss weapon. And obviously anomaly enhancement is also mandatory, because that gives you then the 40% of your anomaly power. And then we have a skill that gives us 15% of anomaly. So overall we have 55% of our anomaly going into our firepower. So Mage's Raids, definitely you need that for bossing, anomaly enhancement. And then the third one, again, whatever you want, either Fortress, Dark Sacrifice, just anything, even Killing Spree. Well, not so much on the boss weapon, maybe on the ad weapon you want to get Killing Spree. But pretty much anything you want can go into that last slot. As long as you have anomaly enhancement and Mage's Rage, you're sorted for boss. And for trash, you want anomaly and perpetual mobile. Then whatever you want. You can even use purple guns. You do not need to have legendaries. These just roll with nice mods on them. And then moving on, so our skills we'll be using will be overheat to consume statuses and just do a little bit of map clearing damage. And then volcanic rounds is what we will use as our bread and butter pretty much. That's how rounds build works with our volcanic rounds. Ash Blast is just to activate some of our skills that give us damage, and obviously Death Sentence as well, the mod that we do have to increase damage on those enemies. And overheat you could swap out for Feed the Flames if you wanted. Or you could even put Thermal Bomb on there and put on Branded maybe. but you really don't need it. And Overheat and Ash Blast are nice because you can keep shooting and you can use both of these abilities while still shooting. I have tested it, and Heat Wave and Phaser, I think even Eruption, those ones you can't all use, and then you'll actually lose your buff from your shooting. But you can use Feed the Flames and Thermal Bomb. Those will fit in and you'll still be able to keep shooting and maintain your buff afterwards. So that's pretty much your options there. But this setup here is the best, mostly what I recommend. Moving into the class tree, we're going in the top here with Ashbreaker. We're just picking up weapon damage, cooldown on immobilize skills, more weapon damage, and this is our Assault Master giving us assault weapon damage. And then we got Ash, enemies receive more enemies with Ash, increase weapon damage 10% against marked enemies. And this is why we use Ash Blast, because activating immobilize skill increases your anomaly power by 45%, and then we're converting 55% of that to weapon damage firepower. And Incinerate just makes enemies get ashed once burn wears out. There's just a little bit of max health. Extinction increases your damage by 20% against enemies below 30%, just more damage on lower enemies. Some anomaly power. And then another big one of yours, Inferno Bullets, converting 15% of your anomaly power to firepower. So that is really nice over there. Add that up with anomaly enhancement and we're getting 55% of our anomaly over to firepower. Moving on, we got Ash inflicted on enemies last longer. Weapon damage, weapon damage, weapon damage. And over there is just reload time, which we'll never really use that, so it's kind of wasted, but we can't do anything about it. Increased elite damage, they deal less damage to you. And there's enemies afflicted with Ash receive 15% more damage. And the reason we don't go down for that cooldown node there is because we just have so much cooldown with the 3 pieces. We are overcapped already, so any cooldown is wasted past that point. And then our capstone, activating immobilize skill, increases your weapon damage by 45% for 10 seconds. And our Ash Blast does have a 9-second cooldown. So this is always up and this is always up. So that's 45, 45, and then converting that over to firepower again. It's just crazy damage and they all take out of each other, and it's just, this build is insane. And then moving on to our Pax Tree, this is where the magic happens. So we got Coming in Hot, just more damage on enemies with lower health. Ash and Wake, your shots damage all enemies afflicted with Ash within 4 meter radius to the target. So pretty much like a AoE effect around the target with Ash and Wake, just to help you with AoE clear. And then Hot Streak, critical shots increase weapon damage by 6%, bonus lasts 4 seconds and stacks up to 5 times. So that's like 32% or something like that. Just a nice little bit of weapon damage, again adding to all your multipliers. And then Carbon Ammo. This is what kind of makes the build work with the LMG and Perpetual Mobile, because it increases your mag size by 200%. So that's a lot of ammo. And then this over here is all the damage. This is where it comes from. Shots with assault weapons increase your weapon damage by 3%, and this effect stacks until you stop shooting. So there's no cap on that until you stop shooting. So as long as you don't stop shooting, that buff is going to add up indefinitely, and you're just going to start one-clicking everything. And you'll see in the back where I'll leave some gameplay at the end for you guys, and you just delete everything. Doesn't matter what spawns, the birds, the crawlers, the brood mothers, anything just get clicked. They can't even move. You kill stuff faster than what an old FP Technomancer could. There's like no competition at all. Then moving on to our Ascension. What you want to get over here first is the weapon damage, close range and long range. And then after that, I would say go into anomaly power, obviously giving you firepower directly. And then status power again for all your statuses. And anomaly damage, I'm not sure if this actually affects the damage, but I think so, since our Volcanic Grounds is a skill. So technically it does do a lot of anomaly damage, so I would assume that would do more. So go for those 3, anomaly power, status, anomaly damage, and then you have to go wherever you really want. I went to elite damage, I would say is good for next. And then over there is just some crit damage, since you will be doing a lot of crit and crit chance. So these over here are really good. Ammo doesn't really matter too much. Cooldown is kind of a waste until it's your last couple of points. And there is elite damage mitigation, so you can also leave that to the end. And then we got weapon leech and skill leech. Up to you. I'm trying to max out skill leech next. And that's pretty much all there is to it, guys. I hope you enjoy the build and you go live your fantasies of being Rambo. I'll leave you guys a little bit more gameplay here. And if you liked the video, please drop a sub and a like. It helps me out so much. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Foggy-san out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the